lives. And for us, the success is the patient's trust and the patients who get well and go home to a normal life. And as a pioneering organization, I think Apollo has consistently and with focus done only this and nothing else. And for us, this is really the DNA of our existence. And such efforts would not have been possible unless we had champions like Dr. Sai Satish, who keeps pushing the boundaries of medicine and who keeps pushing the boundaries of what the responsibility of giving back to patients are. And for that, we're thankful that the organization can support a doctor's vision, a clinical vision, and bring the best in class which is available globally to our country and set the standards for better outcomes, set the goalpost much further away so that we can continue to do more. And more than anything else, become part of a global network where research, innovation, and technology becomes the mainstay of an organization. And I think that is why Apollo is probably the greatest place to be in, whether it's for people like all of us who work there, or for people like the patients who come there with a lot of hope and trust. So for the members of the media, thank you so much for being with us today. We have many milestones at Apollo, and we're always sharing that with you, not because we want to say we're the greatest and the best, but because we want to say that such things are possible in our country, and we're proud to be Indians, because it truly sets India on a global platform. We were the first in Asia to perform 4 MitraClip procedures in a day, and we were all part of that story. And we've surpassed Japan, where only 3 MitraClip procedures were performed in a day. So, we already set the standards so high. We also have taken a leadership position with over 70% of the mitral clips in India being performed at the Apollo hospitals and in Chennai. So நம்ம சென்னையில இருந்து இவ்வளோ நல்லா பண்றோம்னா மற்றவங்களுக்கு தெரியணும், கண்ட்ரிக்கு எல்லாம் தெரியணும், and the rest of the world has to know that Chennai is a great place to be in for medical work, medical technology, and of course for healthcare tourism, because the other people should come to Chennai for that. So for that, I'm truly proud. Over the past 15 months, COVID has been the biggest concern, not only in India but all over the world. But Apollo has been at the forefront because we've done whatever we can to help during the crisis, whether it's treating patients with the best protocols which are available worldwide, getting the best medications which are again sometimes not available in our country but importing them for people who need it, setting vaccination programs in such a way that we're actually the largest vaccinators in the private sector. But while we're doing this on one side, during the COVID crisis, people are afraid to come to hospital, and the clinicians are also afraid because they're human beings after all, but never in a hospital like ours. And during the COVID crisis, for us to be able to achieve these kind of numbers of life-saving procedures, because you understood and you saw that if we did not intervene at this time, if doctors like Sai Satish did not go into the cath lab and do what they had to do, then lives could have been lost. So I think that is the kind of credit which the clinicians of Apollo should be getting. Again, for all of us who are here, India is home to 25% of the world's coronary heart disease, and that is a huge burden. And 120 million hypertensives, and a large number of individuals with rheumatic heart disease. So unless we find ways to intervene and unless we find ways to help all these people, I don't think we will be doing our duty as healthcare providers. And that is why Apollo calls and invites, every time we do something like this, all of you to be part of the story, part of the journey. Because unless we communicate and let people know that these options are available to them, we would not be doing work as responsible citizens. And we look and we lead to save lives. And while we're doing that, I think we want you to be part of that journey. And And that is why we're meeting here today, to celebrate lives, to celebrate a life of patients like who you will be seeing, and also to celebrate the fact that we can actually achieve things when we set out to do it. So thank you all for being with us today. Thank you, Dr. Sai Satish, and your team for delivering consistently on the highest levels and the highest standards of care. And let me assure you that the organization will always be there in this journey, because we don't do it for ourselves, we do it for the people who come to us with so much of hope and trust. Thank you, namaste, and jai hind.
No, let me finish.
Look at it. Okay.
முடிச்சிட்டீங்களா?
கிராமத்துல ஒரு விவசாயி, ரெண்டு சின்ன குழந்தைங்க, இவரோட ரெண்டு ஆண்களுங்க, மனைவி. கடைசியில விஜயவாடால எதுவுமே பண்ண முடியாதுன்னு சொல்லி ஹைதராபாத் போனாங்க. ஹைதராபாத்லயும் ஹார்ட் ரொம்ப வீக் ஆயிடுச்சு, உன்னால எதுவுமே பண்ண முடியாதுன்னு வெண்டிலேட்டர்ல போட்டு எடுத்து கடைசியில லாஸ்ட் ரிசார்ட் இறுதியும் டைம் கிடைக்கல. அந்த டைம்ல இவரு அந்த நீரேகதான் அவர் பேசுவார், ஆனா தெலுங்குல பேசுவாரு. தெலுங்குல பேசுவா, நானே டிரான்ஸ்லேட் பண்ணிட்டுமா. Sure. Do you want me to finish this off quickly and then do Q&A?
No, Q&A.
Whatever you say. Q&A. Any questions?
What are these heart attacks? Mitral value, what is the percentage of this?
So, you can have Tamil English? English? Okay. So, you can have several reasons why this mitral valve can leak. One, you can have your mitral valve leaking because the valve gets damaged. And that is because of, like ma'am had mentioned, rheumatic heart disease, which is quite prevalent in India. Two, you can have these valves get damaged because you're born with a floppy valve. Neenga kettirupinga mitral valve prolapse. It's very common. These prolapse valves, when they are strained, the mitral valve is like two parachutes. Okay? You've seen the strings below the parachute, right? So these two parachutes open and then close and become like this. If the string breaks off, the parachute doesn't close and blood leaks. So this is congenital. That is, they're born like this, they degenerate quicker, they tear off. These are reasons that involve the valve. Then there are reasons that involve the heart, where your question comes into play. Patient has a heart attack. The heart doesn't squeeze. It gets damaged. It becomes thin. It becomes scarred. Once it becomes thin, it starts ballooning out. See, if it's thick and muscular, it stays tight. If it's thin and damaged, it balloons out. Now, as it balloons out, what happens to the valve? It starts enlarging. When the valve enlarges, the leaflets don't touch. And then you have the leak. So he had a bit of both. He had a tear in the valve leaflet. Because it was ignored over a long time, the tear enlarged the hand. The heart has enlarged, the leak increased. So it is a vicious cycle. The leak enlarged the enlarged heart increased the leak until he got very sick. Now, initially when we attempted him, it was just a bridge to fix him till he gets a heart. But by God's grace, looking at how well he's improved, it's only 5 days since he has spent 90 days in hospitals and ventilators, and he's able to walk to us. Right? So that is how incredible this therapy is.